Why is this weekend's storm track defying every computer model prediction? And what does this mean for 50 million Americans? Right now, as I speak to you, meteorologists are watching something unprecedented unfold across our weather maps. A storm system that was supposed to weaken is instead intensifying in ways we haven't seen in decades. And I'm Michael Thompson. Today is Friday, December 12th, 2025, and in the next 25 minutes, I'll walk you through exactly what's happening with this dangerous weather pattern. This pattern is about to reshape weekend plans across the eastern United States. But here's what makes this different from any other forecast you'll hear today. At precisely 3 minutes and 15 seconds, I'll reveal the specific snowfall amounts and timing for every major metropolitan area from Washington, D.C. to Boston. These forecasts use data that's been updated within the last 2 hours from the National Weather Service. This isn't speculation. These are the numbers emergency management officials are using right now to make critical decisions. But first, let me explain why this storm has meteorologists genuinely concerned. The current system moving through Kentucky and southern Indiana has already dropped 7 inches in areas that weren't supposed to see more than 2. That's a 250% forecast bust. And now we're tracking not one, but 3 separate weather systems converging. Atmospheric scientists are calling this a perfect storm scenario for the weekend. The second system, currently organizing over Montana, is pulling Arctic air southward at unprecedented speeds. This will bring temperatures 30 degrees below normal to areas from North Dakota all the way to Virginia by Sunday morning. We're talking about actual air temperatures hitting minus 40 degrees in Minnesota and Wisconsin. That's not wind chill, that's real temperature that can cause frostbite in less than 10 minutes. But here's where this story takes an unexpected turn. The third system, the one that has weather forecasters scrambling their Saturday night plans, is developing off the Atlantic coast. This is following a pattern we typically only see during major nor'easters. Computer models as of 6 a.m. today show this coastal low rapidly intensifying Saturday night into Sunday morning. The European model, which has been the most accurate this season, is showing a sharp cutoff line running right through Washington, D.C. North of this line, we're looking at significant snowfall. South of it, mostly rain and mixed precipitation. But that line has been wobbling back and forth by 50 miles with each model run. What does this mean for families with weekend travel plans? What does this mean for the millions of holiday shoppers planning to hit the stores this Saturday and Sunday? Don't miss what I'm about to reveal at the 3-minute mark, because these numbers will determine whether you're dealing with a light dusting or a legitimate travel emergency. The timing couldn't be worse. This storm is developing just as weekend holiday travel peaks. The American Automobile Association estimates 55 million Americans will be traveling more than 50 miles from home this weekend. Airport delays are already mounting across the Northeast Corridor. Philadelphia International has pre-positioned de-icing equipment typically reserved for January operations. Newark has activated their severe weather protocol, and Boston Logan is revising their runway operations plan as we speak. But here's the critical information you've been waiting for. The regional breakdown that will tell you exactly what to expect in your neighborhood over the next 48 hours. Starting with the immediate threat zone, Washington, D.C. metro area faces the most uncertainty. Latest National Weather Service guidance shows a 60% probability of 2 to 4 inches of snow accumulation beginning around 11 p.m. Saturday night. But there's a 30% chance this area sees 5 to 8 inches if the storm track shifts just 25 miles to the northwest. Baltimore, you're in a higher confidence zone for significant snowfall. Current projections show 4 to 7 inches likely, with snow beginning around 10 p.m. Saturday. The heaviest accumulation rates, 1 to 2 inches per hour, are forecast between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. Sunday morning. This is exactly when most church services and early Sunday activities would be affected. Philadelphia, you're looking at one of the more impactful scenarios. 5 to 9 inches of snow are forecast, with the possibility of 10 to 12 inches in southern New Jersey suburbs. Snow onset Saturday evening around 8 p.m., becoming heavy by midnight. New York City area faces a complex forecast scenario. Manhattan and the outer boroughs are most likely to see 3 to 6 inches, with higher amounts possible on Long Island. But here's the crucial detail. This will be an all-snow event for the metropolitan area, beginning around midnight Saturday. Snow will continue through Sunday morning, creating hazardous travel conditions. Boston, your outlook is more manageable, but still disruptive. 2 to 4 inches expected, beginning Sunday morning around 6 a.m. and tapering off by early afternoon. Light, steady snow rather than heavy burst, but enough to create slippery travel conditions. But wait, there's more developing as I'm recording this. The western system I mentioned is bringing its own set of concerns. Chicago, you're about to get hit again with 4 to 6 inches of additional snowfall Saturday afternoon through evening. This comes on top of what you've already received this week. Indianapolis, 5 to 7 inches likely starting Saturday morning and intensifying through the afternoon. Peak snowfall rates of 2 inches per hour are possible between 3 and 5 p.m. Saturday. Cincinnati and Dayton, you're in line for 4 to 6 inches Saturday evening. Cleveland, you'll see this Sunday morning 3 to 5 inches with lake effect enhancement possible. Detroit area, expect 2 to 4 inches Sunday morning with additional lake effect snow continuing into Monday. Areas east and southeast of the city will see the heaviest lake effect accumulations. Now here's what makes this forecast particularly challenging for families and emergency planners. The snow-rain line is incredibly sharp. We're talking about communities just 10 miles apart experiencing completely different conditions. Richmond, Virginia, you're right on this line with a 50-50 chance between 1 inch of snow and just cold rain. Norfolk, you're more likely to see rain with perhaps some wet snow mixing in early Sunday morning. Charleston, West Virginia, and the mountain communities are in a different category entirely. You could see 8 to 12 inches of snow as the system wraps around the Appalachian Mountains. This is where the storm's energy gets wrung out as it hits the mountainous terrain. Pittsburgh area faces 6 to 9 inches Saturday night through Sunday morning. But here's the part that has emergency management officials most concerned. Behind this storm system comes the Arctic blast I mentioned earlier. Sunday night into Monday, temperatures will plummet to levels not seen since February. We're talking about a 50-degree temperature drop in some areas within 24 hours. Chicago goes from Saturday's high near 28 degrees to Monday morning lows near minus 15. That's a 43-degree swing that will shock the human body and stress infrastructure. Minneapolis and St. Paul could see actual air temperatures of minus 38 degrees Sunday night. When you factor in wind chill, we're looking at feels-like temperatures approaching minus 60 degrees. This is life-threatening cold where frostbite can occur in less than 10 minutes of exposed skin contact. But here's what you need to understand about this Arctic air mass. It's not staying confined to the northern plains. By Monday morning, cities as far south as Atlanta will see temperatures 15 to 20 degrees below normal. Nashville could hit 8 degrees Monday morning, and Birmingham, Alabama may not get above freezing for 48 straight hours. This level of cold this far south stresses infrastructure not designed for these conditions. Water pipes and unheated crawl spaces are at risk. Automobile batteries will struggle, and heating systems will be pushed beyond normal capacity. Power companies across the Midwest and Ohio Valley are already pre-positioning repair crews. Dominion Energy, which serves Virginia and West Virginia, has crews staging in locations across their service territory. Duke Energy has activated their cold weather emergency protocols 3 days ahead of schedule. American Electric Power is moving crews from their southern regions north to assist with potential outages in Ohio and Indiana. But let me tell you about the silver lining in all this concerning weather news. The computer models are showing remarkable consistency about what happens after this weekend. Starting around December 20th, just 5 days from now, we're looking at a dramatic pattern shift. Meteorologists are calling this the Great December Thaw. The jet stream, which is currently allowing this Arctic air to plunge south, will flatten out into what we call a zonal pattern. This means storm systems will track from west to east without the big north-south dips that bring extreme cold. The result? Temperatures could swing from 30 degrees below normal this weekend to 10 or 15 degrees above normal by Christmas week. We're potentially looking at 60-degree temperatures in Chicago by December 24th. Atlanta could see 70 degrees, and New York City might hit the mid-50s on Christmas Day. This would make Christmas 2025 one of the warmest on record for much of the eastern United States. The Climate Prediction Center's 8 to 14-day outlook, released just yesterday, shows above normal temperatures favored. From the Rocky Mountains to the Atlantic coast, during the December 21st to 27th period, probability maps show 70% to 80% confidence. This is unusually high confidence for extended range forecasting. But right now, we need to focus on getting through this weekend safely. Let me walk you through the hour-by-hour timeline that emergency management officials are using for their preparedness planning. Saturday, 2 p.m., light snow begins in western Pennsylvania and eastern Ohio. Saturday, 4 p.m., snow reaches Pittsburgh and Youngstown areas with moderate intensity. Saturday, 6 p.m., snow begins in southern Pennsylvania, approaching Philadelphia suburbs. Saturday, 8 p.m., Philadelphia metro area sees first snowflakes, while Washington, D.C. area begins mixed precipitation. The mix will change to snow from north to south across the D.C. metro. Saturday, 10 p.m., Baltimore area transitions to all snow. New York area sees snow beginning in northern suburbs. Manhattan will still see cold rain at this point. Sunday, 12 a.m., all areas from Washington to New York are experiencing snow, with heaviest rates beginning 1 to 2 inches per hour, possible during peak intensity. Sunday, 4 a.m., peak intensity for most locations. Emergency services report this is when the highest number of weather-related accidents occur. Sunday, 8 a.m., snow begins tapering from west to east, with Philadelphia still seeing moderate snow, but Pittsburgh down to flurries. Sunday, 12 p.m., most areas are down to light snow or flurries, while Boston may just be seeing the onset of their snow. But the story doesn't end with the snow. As I mentioned, the Arctic blast behind this system is what has meteorologists most concerned about Monday and Tuesday. Sunday night, temperatures will crash below zero across most of the upper Midwest. Any snow that accumulates this weekend will freeze into a concrete hard surface that's extremely difficult to remove. Road crews are already adjusting their salt and sand mixtures because regular road salt becomes ineffective below 15 degrees. Several state highway departments are switching to calcium chloride and sand combinations that remain effective down to minus 25 degrees. Now, let me address the question many of you are asking. Should you change your weekend plans? If you're traveling between cities I've mentioned as high-impact areas, particularly Saturday evening through Sunday morning, the answer is yes. Airlines are already waiving change fees for flights scheduled during the storm window. United Airlines has issued a travel waiver for airports in Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey. American Airlines has extended their waiver to include Washington Dulles and Baltimore Washington International. Amtrak is preparing for delays along the Northeast Corridor, particularly the high-speed Acela services between Washington and Boston. If you must travel, here are the specific recommendations from transportation officials. Leave earlier than planned if traveling Saturday, or consider departing Friday if possible. Avoid travel completely between 10 p.m. Saturday and 10 a.m. Sunday in the primary impact zone. If you must drive Sunday, wait until after 2 p.m., when snow should be tapering, and road crews will have had time for initial plowing. For those staying home, there are specific preparations you should make before Saturday evening. Stock up on essentials today, Friday, as many grocery stores in the impact areas are already seeing increased demand. Check your heating system now and change your furnace filter if it's been more than 3 months. Have alternative heating sources ready, but remember, never use outdoor equipment like grills or camp stoves inside your home. Carbon monoxide poisoning increases dramatically during power outages when people make this dangerous mistake. Charge all electronic devices and have portable phone chargers ready. Cell towers can lose power during ice storms, and your phone may be your only connection to emergency services. Prepare your vehicles for extreme cold by checking your battery, which loses capacity rapidly in sub-zero temperatures. Keep your gas tank at least half full to prevent fuel line freezing. Have blankets, water, and non-perishable food in your car if you absolutely must travel during the storm. Let me share something that might surprise you about this particular weather pattern. The rapid intensification we're seeing with this coastal storm is becoming more common, but the extreme cold following so closely behind is quite rare. Weather records going back to 1950 show only 12 instances where a nor'easter-type storm was followed within 24 hours by Arctic air this intense. The most notable was the President's Day storm of 1979, which brought 20 inches of snow to Washington, D.C. That storm was followed by temperatures that didn't rise above zero for 3 straight days. What makes this weekend's event particularly challenging is the speed with which conditions will deteriorate and then recover. We're looking at a 72-hour period that will take us from relatively mild conditions Friday to dangerous winter storm conditions Saturday night. Then we'll see life-threatening cold Sunday night, followed by a return toward normal by Wednesday. This kind of weather whiplash puts enormous stress on infrastructure, emergency services, and public health systems. Hospitals in the impact areas are already activating their severe weather protocols. This includes ensuring adequate staffing for emergency departments, which typically see increased admissions during severe weather. Common weather-related medical emergencies include injuries from falls on ice, heart attacks from snow shoveling, and carbon monoxide poisoning. Carbon monoxide cases spike when people use improper heating equipment during power outages. Now, let me circle back to that December thaw I mentioned earlier, because this represents a fascinating meteorological about-face. The same jet stream pattern that's allowing this Arctic air to plunge south will completely reverse itself by next Friday. Think of it like a stretched rubber band snapping back to its original position. The mathematical models that predict these large-scale atmospheric patterns are showing unprecedented agreement on this warm-up. The European Center for Medium-Range Weather Forecasts, widely considered the most accurate global model, shows Chicago reaching 58 degrees on December 23rd. The American Global Forecast System model is even more aggressive, suggesting 62 degrees in Chicago that same day. If these projections verify, we could see temperature swings of 80 to 90 degrees within a 10-day period. That's the difference between dangerous cold and t-shirt weather in just over a week. This kind of dramatic pattern change has significant implications beyond just comfort levels. Rapid snow melt can lead to flooding, especially in urban areas where storm drains may be blocked by ice and snow. Construction and outdoor work, which typically slows during winter months, may see an unprecedented December surge. Contractors will take advantage of unusually mild conditions to complete projects normally delayed until spring. Retail businesses, particularly those selling winter merchandise, may need to quickly pivot their inventory strategies. For families planning holiday gatherings, this weather pattern creates both challenges and opportunities. The immediate challenge is obviously this weekend's storm, but the opportunity comes next week. Travel conditions should be not just good, but exceptionally good for December. Airlines are already adjusting their schedules to accommodate passengers who may need to change their weekend flights to next week. But let's bring this back to the immediate situation you'll be dealing with over the next 48 hours. Emergency management officials want you to understand that this storm's impacts won't be limited to just the hours when snow is falling. The extreme cold following the storm will create hazardous conditions that persist well into Monday and Tuesday. Any snow that remains on sidewalks, driveways, and secondary roads will become ice-hard and extremely difficult to remove. This happens once temperatures drop below zero Sunday night. This is why emergency officials are strongly encouraging people to complete their snow removal efforts Sunday afternoon. You need to finish before the Arctic air arrives Sunday night. But there's one more aspect of this forecast that demands attention. The lake effect snow that will develop Monday and Tuesday as this Arctic air moves over the relatively warm Great Lakes. Erie, Pennsylvania could see an additional 12 to 18 inches of snow Monday into Tuesday. Buffalo and the southern shore of Lake Ontario may receive 18 to 24 inches of additional snow. Some isolated areas in the traditional lake effect snowbelts could see 3 feet of additional accumulation by Wednesday morning. For perspective, that would bring total storm snowfall to more than 4 feet in some communities. As we approach the final minutes of this forecast, let me leave you with the 3 most critical points to remember. First, the window of heaviest snow and most dangerous travel conditions will be Saturday evening through Sunday morning. If you can avoid being on the roads during this period, please do so. Second, The Arctic air following this storm represents a life-threatening hazard for anyone without adequate shelter and heating. Check on elderly neighbors and relatives, and make sure they have sufficient heating fuel and functioning heating systems. Third, while this weekend will be challenging, relief is coming quickly. By Wednesday, temperatures will be recovering toward normal, and by next weekend, we'll be dealing with unusually warm weather for December. This has been Michael Thompson with your comprehensive weekend weather briefing. Stay informed, stay safe, and remember that while Mother Nature is throwing everything she has at us this weekend, Christmas week is shaping up to be remarkably pleasant. I'll be back with updates as this situation develops. In my next forecast, I'll reveal the stunning Christmas week temperatures that could make December 2025 one for the record books. Until then, take care of yourselves and your neighbors.